Hi, my name's Mandy. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Pickety Stitch. Life is so creative. This is a podcast or a vlog about my crafting activities in the northwest of England that involve mainly fibre and thread. And could I ask, if you haven't already subscribed, if you enjoyed this vlog, please subscribe and tap the bell and you'll be reminded whenever I upload a video. So yeah, I've noted that there are some new subscribers and I do thank you for that. So yeah, I hope you enjoy this vlog. First of all, I just thought I'd explain to you, and I do apologise if the light shines in my glasses in advance. I would explain to you about my planner. So what I was doing is I was planning all my projects. I'll bring it a bit closer. I have 10 projects usually in my rotation, and what I was doing is writing down Monday I was doing this and Tuesday and it didn't really make a lot of sense. Now I've been watching Sharon, and her podcast is primarily knitting, and her channel is called SCR1TNO. So I'll put the name of the channel down below and also in the description box a link to her channel. Now she also uses a planner, but what she does is each day she devotes to a certain theme. So let's pretend it was Monday, she might do baby knitting, Tuesday it might be sock, Wednesday it might be a blanket, Thursday would be garment. So that made more sense to me. So I thought, it's a good idea to do it that way. So I've decided that's what I'd do for my projects. Like I say, I have 10 in my rotation usually. So I thought, well, Monday will be miniature day. So M for Monday, miniature or mini project. That's when I'll work on a small project. Tuesday and Thursday, because they're teas, will be thimble days. So that'll be cross-stitch, embroidery, or it could be tapestry. Wednesday will be wool, where I'll work on a project that involves yarn. Friday will be finish it and fabric Friday. So that could be finishing a project, or it could be that I've been working on some garment, sewing a garment for my wardrobe. Saturday would be scrappy quilt Saturday, where I'd work on a quilt, and Sunday is selection Sunday. So that's when I pick a project to work on. So it could be wool, it could be cross-stitch, so something I fancy doing that day. So that's how I'm going to work it from now on, and yeah, I've been really enjoying that idea, so thank you, Sharon. I'll start first of all what I'm wearing. I don't think I've ever shown you this jumper, but this is a design by Susan Crawford. It's called Sunray Ribbing, and they're like sun rays because it starts off, if I stand up you'll see, it starts off with this pattern and then gradually grows out, so it's like actually a sun. So yeah, it's got this pretty neckline as well. I really like this neckline. Pattern you can get from her Stitch and Time volume 1. The book is full of information and different patterns from the different decades. So basically a vintage knitting pattern, usually they were knitting 4-ply, and they only ever had 1 or 2 sizes, which were usually a bust size of 32 or a bust size of 34. So what Susan has done is she's taken actual vintage patterns and she's sized them up. So that takes all the headache out of you having to calculate how many stitches and how many rows you need it's already done for you. There is a lot of information in the books, so she will talk about the different decades. So it's divided into decades. So in 1940s, there'll be 1940s patterns. She'll talk about the changes, what the trends were. There's a variety of patterns. They're not just all sweaters. There's cardigans, there's hats, gloves. Really good diversity there for the different garments. And the next chapter will probably be devoted to 1950. So that's how she's done it. So yeah, it's really worth buying the book, and I would like to get volume 2, and if I do, I shall buy the hard copy, because it's just lovely to look at the photographs as well and read. So yeah, and when I posted this picture on this, so when I knit this jumper, I've knit it in, I think it's a double knitting, well, it might be a 4-ply, but it's a merino wool, and it was by Wendy, that's what I remember. Now the original had short sleeves, and I don't like, as I got older, to show my arms. So what I did is I carried on increasing and then started decreasing to make a sleeve. And I put a picture onto Instagram, and she actually commented on it, and she liked the adaptation that I'd done. So that was really yeah, I was really chuffed, pleased when I saw that she'd made this comment. So yeah, so look out for Susan Crawford. She also does some lovely fair art patterns as well, with the Shetland wool. So let's just start with the sewing first of all before we get on to the rest of the projects. Firstly, I'd just like to congratulate Marie from Marie Sews for Curves. Now Marie, in September, facilitated sewing vloggers and sewists to make dresses for an organisation called Dress a Girl Around the World. So it was Project Dress a Girl. I made 3 dresses, and also I vlogged about it, and I'll put a link in up there for that. But when I looked at Marie's Instagram, I think there was, no, I did write this down, but I'm pretty sure she was more or less on 780 dresses. So that's really an achievement there. But I think some dresses will still being sent in, so it might be more than that. So it's, you know, it's hats off to her. She's done really well to get us all together and to get us sewing and making all these dresses. So well done to Marie. And I think she might be running this project next year as well, so we'll look out for that. So that is that. I have got some garments on my cutting table at the moment. I'm going to get me cutting table. It's only a plastic table what my partner's put up in the conservatory. If you remember on my last vlog, I'd bought some jersey from Stitchy Bee, some navy jersey and some grey jersey. I'll pop a link up there to that vlog where I show that. And I've cut out of the grey jersey Agnes top, and I've cut out of the navy a Freya top, and both patterns are by Tilly and the Buttons. So I'm going to get those sewn up this week, and I'll be able to show you on my next vlog. And I've also downloaded a pattern from Helen's Closet, and I've never ever used Helen's Closet before, and it's the Blackwood cardigan. I'd seen a lot of information about that, and a lot of sewing vloggers had made the Blackwood, and they were very complimentary about it. So I could do with a long cardigan, and I've got this other jersey I'd purchased from Holly's Haberdashery, so I thought I'd make the Blackwood out of that. So I'll have 3 jersey makes for you next week. Sunday is Selection Sunday, and I decided I couldn't wait any longer, and I was going to make a mini quilt from this book here. So it's called Jo's Little Favourites 3. So this is the 3rd book published. So this is the 3rd book written by Jo Morton. This is the Winslow Alley. This is the one I decided I would make. So I wanted a table runner for my coffee table in my lounge. So I wanted autumn colours because Jo's colours and aesthetic I love. That's what I aspire, these colours. I just love this look. So yeah, this took me taking me a lot longer than what I thought it would. So these little miniature squares I'm making. So I think I've made all the squares now. So I've made them into, whoops, some cotton there, the blocks. And now I'm sewing the sashing on. So let me just, this is one row I've started to make. So I'll bring that up a little bit closer for you to see. I've had this fabric, they're just little scraps. And I love sewing scraps. I do, I don't know what's up with me, but I just find it so therapeutic to just sit there sewing scraps of fabric together. And I think I've had this one here for, I bet it's been in my stash for 10 years. These I've made quilts in the past. So these were just scraps left over. Because my partner's always like, I know, he's banned from coming in here with his Hoover. Because he'll come in and a little scrap of fabric, say something like that, he would just throw in the bin and I'd have to rescue it. And I say, don't come in here throwing bits and bobs away, because you'll never know when I use them. And cotton everywhere, yeah, and that's what happens, you see. You can make things with them. So I think I've got, make this a little bit longer. I'm making mine a little bit longer than the original pattern. And then when I've made 3 of these, then there's some sashing in between. But I think it's really pretty and really effective. And I worked on that on Sunday and also on Monday, because that is a miniature project. Getting rid of all my scraps as well. So Tuesday is Thimble Tuesday, and I've given some love to my Heaven and Earth design. So I'm making the mini sea beacon by Heaven and Earth Design. So this is a design by Jasmine Beckett Griffiths, but I believe has been charted by Michelle Saeta. And I apologise if there's any mispronunciations there of names for Heaven and Earth. And this is on what we call an 18 count Aida, or Ada. Some people call it Aida. So basically that means that every inch of this fabric there are 18 holes or squares. So that's what I mean by the 18 count. The cross stitchers amongst us will know straight away what I'm talking about. But I've finished a third. So there's 3 pages in that bit there. So I think last time this I was working on here, and now this is all completed. I mean, I've got to tidy up those threads, but I'm absolutely thrilled with how this is shaping up now. I love how the sea, you can see the depth of the waves, can't you? And as it crashes up the beacon's dress, I just love it. So yeah, really happy with how this is turning out, and I really do enjoy stitching on this. So like I say, there's 18 holes to an inch because this is an 18 count. That means so basically that means there's 100 stitches because it's 10 by 10 in a square. So there's 100 stitches in a square. So as you can see, that's quite a lot of stitching. But I'm loving it. And on a Tuesday, what I'm tending to do is just sit with my coffee in the morning and put on a podcast, something like My Favourite Murder, and I just sit there and stitch. And yeah, loving it. This is on my Q-snap, so I'm going to put this back on tonight and start working top down again on the next section. So yeah, looking forward to that. So the other cross stitch I've been working on a Tuesday is this one by Lila Studios, and I was stitching this one here, the 4 Blessings, and this is from her Seasons Blessings range. So there's a spring and a summer, and then she's also brought out a Seasons 2, and I actually stitched the Summer Blessings one from the Seasons 2 range, but this is the Seasons 1. So this is on a 32 count Belfast linen, and I'll bring that a little bit closer so you can see that in more detail. So I've enjoyed stitching this. Oh, I just love it. I'm going to make this into a little pillow for my autumn display. So can't wait to get I'll do this on Friday, finish it Friday. I'll just make this into a, so I'll on Friday, finish it Friday, I'll make this into a pillow. Now my daughter saw this, my youngest daughter showed her, and she said, oh, I love that. She says, will you make me one? So when I've cut off this bit of linen, I'll have enough left to make another. So I'm not going to do it straight away because, you know, you don't want to do something the same again, do you, straight away? But yeah, really pleased with how that's turned out. As I completed the 4 Blessings, I've got a space in my project rotation. Now I wanted to do the Feast of Friendship by Blackburn Designs, but I bought this for my youngest daughter because she's recently moved into a new house. So I think this takes precedence. So this is Home is Where the Heart Is by the Historical Sampler Company, and I purchased the kit from Love Crafts. Now I'm a little bit cross, and I'm going to let them know that when I come to, I started with cross stitching the door. As you can see on the picture, it's a dark pink, and yet the chart is telling me I should be using this colour. So I think they've got the letters and the colours accidentally the wrong way round. So I'm going to let them know. So this is how far I've got, and that's just one night's work, that is. So this is the front door, and I've been enjoying working on this. I think this Aida or Ada is an oatmeal colour in the oatmeal colour range, and I think it's a 16 count. And when I looked with my ruler, I counted 16 holes, and it does seem a little bit smaller than a 14, so I think that's a 16. My next project is Kringles by Little House Needleworks, and I'm working this on a 14 count. Aida in the pewter colour range. Last time I vlogged I got this far, and now I am this far. So I've done quite a bit of work on this. So at the moment I'm doing the brickwork. I have made a boo-boo here. There should be a little red rosette in between the garlands, so I've just got to unpick, there's only about 4 or 5 stitches there, and correct that. Now originally, this has been on every frame you can think of. This has been on the Q-snap, it's been on my siesta frame, but I've actually gone back to using a hoop, and I'm finding that a lot easier. So yeah, I'm just going to, when I rehoop this tonight, I'm going to work on the brickwork across here, down there, and finish that 3rd shop window. So yeah, so there we are. You know, there's quite a bit of progress there. I'm very pleased with that. So, and then my last thing to show you is in the needlework for the thimble Tuesday and Thursday is my tapestry. So this is sunflowers. It's an anchor kit I purchased, I think it was over 4 or 5 years ago. This was in a sale and there was quite a good reduction on it, so that's why I purchased it. But I'd run out of this yellow tapestry wool, so I had to wait for that to arrive. But yeah, I've cracked on with this. Oh, nearly hit myself with the frame then. Cracked on with this quite a bit. So last time I think the sunflowers weren't completed, so I've got the sunflowers now stitched. It doesn't look like I've got a lot left to do, but I have. And at the sides here I haven't stitched, but I think I need to. I think it should be stitched out, you know, this beige wool, because I've got all the sides to complete as well yet. So yeah, I was really pleased with how much I've managed to achieve on this actually. So yeah, getting on there. So that's all my cross stitch and my tapestry, and that brings us to Wool Wednesday. And yeah, I've got a bit done on this as well. So if you remember, I was working on a Marie Wallin cardigan. It was called the Francis cardigan, and I was knitting that in this lovely panache double knitting wool by Kringles. So 50% of that is actually wool. Yeah. First of all, I started off on small circulars and it twisted on me when I was knitting in the round. Then I went to double pointed needles and they were too small. And then my zings come last time I vlogged to you, and I'm on a 100cm cable. And I've got this far. Now it doesn't look a lot, but there's over 300 stitches. And I'm knitting the rib. I think I've only got another 5 or 6 rows to knit, and then I actually start the patterning. So that's quite an achievement to get that much done, really. I think. It's really soft, this wool. What I was a little bit dubious about is the ply on here, the twist. There doesn't seem to be a lot of twist on it, so I'm hoping that the pattern shows up. But yeah, I've got used to knitting with this now, so yeah, I'm enjoying that. And then in this project bag I've got a shawl. Now this is a great one skeiner if you've got the odd skein and you want to use it up. Then this is the shawl to knit, and it's the lightweight hipster shawl designed by Hoki Locatelli. I'll show you the ball band. That's it, Coastal Colours, and this is by a company in Fleetwood. So where the stitch marker is, the moon, you can see how much I have knit up. So I've completed the second garter band, and I'm started on the second bit of patterning called the textured band. So yeah, really happy with how this is knitting up. Now you might think, what's she tiddling on about? There's not a lot of progress, but there is, because believe you me, there's quite a few stitches now on here. And it's going to be a crescent shaped shawl, you see, for my eldest daughter. Oh yeah, I'm loving how this is turning out. And it's got this stellina in it, so it gives it a little sparkle. It's not showing up on the camera, but yeah, there's a little sparkle in here, which will match her sparkly eyes. I'm talking about the wool coming from Fleetwood. That's where I'll be going tomorrow. So Fleetwood is a little fishing port on the northwest coast of England. It's by Blackpool, which is famous for its illuminations. It's our seaside resort in the north. I'm going to see a band called Steel Eye Span, and so we're booked in to stay in a hotel. I stayed in that hotel when I was a young girl, I can remember. So yeah, it brings back a lot of memories, and I try to go to Fleetwood at least once a year. So yeah, looking forward to our overnight stay there. So now my crochet. I am crocheting the Floralia blanket by Pippin Poppycock. I'll put a link in to her website down below. This is a free pattern. So I think this is part 5 I've just completed now, and these were 20 of these squares. So basically, once they're all crocheted up, you then seam them together, so there will be 5 in each row, and then I'm going to join them to the main part of the blanket. So next time I see you, hopefully I'll have all these joined to my blanket, so that'll be good, and we can start to see it take shape. So I can't wait for that. So I'm a member of Ravelry, and I'd seen this sweater on Ravelry called the Spider Sweater. The temps are dropping here in the UK. It was 15 degrees the other night in my bedroom, and I thought, it's sweater weather definitely, hence the sweater. I'll knit the spider sweater up for a little boy I know who would greatly appreciate it, and that's my grandson Arlo. So I decided I would purchase the pattern because I wanted to get the pattern for the spider. Okay, I perhaps could have worked out some of it, how it was done, but I just thought, no, I'll buy the pattern. Now, the intention is again to use my Ann Budd sweater book, because as you know, I knit in the summer a lovely cotton jumper for him using this book, and it's fitting perfectly. So I was really pleased with this. And what I love about this is you just knit a swatch, end of, and then you just pick your gauge from the book. So you're not messing around knitting different swatches and trying to get gauge. So there's a pattern in here for a bottom up raglan sweater, which is the one I knitted before, and I thought that's what I'll use, but I'll work out where to put the spider on the front, and then use the pattern by Daria for the spider. So I went on and purchased this pattern by Daria Dorofsky, and then I noted that she'd actually credited a person called Leslie Comstock for her free pattern of the spider. And so when I looked into this, apparently Leslie had published a free pattern, I think it was 2008, called the Gardener's Socks. And on the back of the socks she'd put the spider. And I thought, I didn't need to buy the pattern, but to be honest, I did get the idea from Daria, so I don't mind buying the pattern, because that's only right, really. We need to give indie designers some credit and support. So I've looked at Leslie's Gardener Socks, and actually there are written instructions for the spider. So I can use either pattern for the spider. But then I noticed that Leslie credited the charted knitting design for the spider to a Barbara Walker. So originally the spider came from Barbara Walker's charted knitting design. So yeah, quite a bit of history there to how this spider was first designed. So yeah, I am going to be using the Ann Budd sweater book again. This is the wool. This is from my stash, so that's even better. This is a Robin double knitting acrylic wool, and I thought of knitting the sweater in grey and having the sleeves knit in black, because obviously the spider will show up better on the lighter wool. So that's what I am planning to start knitting on a Wednesday as well. So right, that takes us, I think, to the end of all the projects. Saturday was my scrappy quilt day, and I finished off this moose quilt which my partner wanted me to make him. So that is all finished now. I have bound it, and I've bound it in a fabric called bark. It's only a very thin binding I have made for this. And yeah, and I did think I'd use my Tilda doll skin, and I had a clear out the other day and it isn't. It was some fabric I'd purchased to make some costumes for my daughter Carly when she was going to Just So Festival. She was on about going as a stag, so I went and bought this from Abercorns while it was in the sale. But we didn't end up using it, so I've used it to back the quilt. So anyhow, the good news is it's not Matilda doll skin, which I thought it was, because I was absolutely gutted. But no, I found Matilda doll skin. So I thought, oh, I know where that fabric's come from. So that is my quilt finished. And then what I'll be doing on a Saturday is carrying on with my Beatrix Potter quilt. So that's all my makes, I think, so far. I am going to a workshop this Sunday. It's by Liberty Bell, and I'm making the autumn pillow, so I'm looking forward to that. So there are two new sewing channels I've subscribed to, and that's Christine Sews a Lot and Becky from Go So Beautiful. So if you don't know already about their sewing channels, go check them out, and I'll put links in down below. I've been watching, and for those of you who have Netflix, and I don't know if the Netflix are different in the UK to what you get maybe in Canada or America, I don't know. But in the UK I've been watching Netflix, and it's a series called The Maid, and that I've really enjoyed watching that. That's been really good. So if you're looking for something to watch while you're doing some stitching, I highly recommend watching The Maid on Netflix. So yeah, I can't think of anything else to share with you. Next week I will be able to update you on my sewing and the workshop I attended. And yeah, until then, happy crafting.